Hey, if you want to see how I made this strawberry colored V-back sweater, stay tuned. Hey y'all, so let's talk about this new sweater that I created. It is a V-back sweater and I created it in 5 different panels. So that was done with purpose. So let's just take a second and talk about that. So I have 2 panels along the back that is going to be used to create the V, and then I did the arms as separate panels, and then I did the front as a panel. So that was important to me because I like to do a lot of my crochet projects on the go, and I wanted to be able to carry this around, and it's really hot in Florida. So I wanted to be able to work on the go without having this really big project coming along with me. Now I'm going to end up sewing along the top, along the sides, sewing on the sleeves. So there is some work on the back end, but the actual construction of the sweater is not difficult. So if you want to learn how to do that, I will definitely show you most of that here in the video. I used the Caron Simply Soft yarn. I used about 3.5 skeins of this yarn, and it's a really inexpensive soft acrylic yarn that you can usually get at like your Joann's Fabrics, your Michaels, even online if you wanted to. So I used that yarn to create the entire project, as well as I used a 6.5 crochet hook and a 5.5 crochet hook for the front paneling, which I'll discuss there in a second when we get there. Now the back paneling is made in 2 separate panels, like I said before, and this is what I'm going to show you right now. How do we create this pattern? So go ahead by starting with a slip knot and placing that on your crochet hook. Okay, once you have your slip knot placed on your crochet hook, you're going to start making a chain of 60. And now keep in mind with this project, while I'll do a lot of stuff on camera, if you're not familiar with the double crochet stitch or the double triple crochet stitch or front post stitch, I will have all of those videos in my description box below, and I'll try to link them in the video so you can catch on to how to do those. Now I will show you as much as I can on camera here, but then I have other tutorials that are dedicated to learning those stitches. So once you go ahead and make yourself a chain of 60, we're going to go down that row doing a row of single crochet stitches. So just follow along with the screen here, and I'll stay on camera for a little while, but we're going to do a row of single crochet stitches down the row. Okay, so you're going to start by making yourself a foundation chain of 60, and then you're going to do single crochets all the way down that foundation chain. So I did make some assumptions that you already know how to do a single crochet stitch, so I don't stay on camera very long while doing this, but if you need any kind of help doing any of those type of stitches, please be sure to check the description box. I'll make sure that I link videos on how I do every single one of the stitches in this video. Okay, so that's what it's looking like, and just continue doing this all the way down the chain. All right, when you get to that very last stitch of that row, go ahead and make sure you put a single crochet stitch there. Then you're going to chain 3 and then turn your work. Now this chain 3 stitch is going to count as your first double crochet stitch. Okay. In that next stitch, you're going to go ahead and make your second double crochet stitch, and this is where the beginning of your pattern is going to start. So we did 2 double crochet stitches. Now we are going to end up chaining 3. I'm just showing you here. There's that first one, the chain 3 counts as your double crochet stitch. You'll do another one, you're going to chain 3. Once you chain 3, you're going to skip 3 stitches. Okay, 1, 2, 3. In that 4th stitch, you're going to do another double crochet stitch. Now, like I said, this is how your pattern will start. So we're going to do another 2 double crochet stitches in the next 2 stitches. Okay, and then one more. All right, perfect. Now chain 3 skip 3. In that fourth stitch, you're going to do another set of double crochet stitches. So you're going to basically be doing 3 double crochet stitches, chaining 3, skipping 3, and then doing 3. And you'll do that all the way down the row until you get to the end. And then that's where it changes up just a little bit, where we'll only be doing 2 double crochet stitches. But I'll show you that on camera. So just continue working until you get towards the end of your row. Okay, and this is what it should look like. So you're having nice large holes to kind of create that pattern. Okay, I'm just going to jump back on camera because I want to show you a little bit more what this is going to look like. And so if you're curious, this is actually the length of your back part of your paneling. So this isn't the width, this is actually the length. So basically from your shoulder down to your top of your tailbone, or however far down you want the sweater to go, that is your initial chain. So we did 60 in my case because I'm 5'5" and I'm extra large size, large, extra large. So I wanted it to come a little bit down close to the top part of my tailbone. So here we are on the camera again. I'm towards the end, so I'm going to chain 3, and as you can see, there should be 2 stitches left. 1, 2, 3, and then there should be 2 left. So in that 4th stitch, you're going to do your double crochet stitch, and then you're going to do the last double crochet stitch into that final stitch in the row. So basically at the beginning and the end of these rows, you're going to have 2 double crochet stitches when you're doing the row that has the holes, which I'll show you. Okay, now once you have that completed, this is what it should look like. You're going to chain 3 and then turn your work. Okay. Now we're going to end up doing a double crochet in that next stitch, and then we're going to do 3 double crochet stitches into the hole. Now this is up to you. You can either go straight into the stitches or you can go straight into the hole. Just keep it consistent throughout your project. I just went straight into the hole. It doesn't make too big of a difference in this moment, in this part of the pattern. Okay, so then once you have your 3 in that hole, you're going to chain 3. You're going to skip that cluster of 3, and then you're going to put 3 in that next big gaping section in that hole. So that is the pattern pretty much. Well, no, let me not say that. Okay, so now you have one, you're on your second row of your clustered, I guess we can call it your cluster rows. And you're going to just put 3 stitches in each one of those holes. Now when you get here to the end, remember you'll have 2 left, so you'll just put 2 double crochet stitches. Okay, and then right there into that chain 3, you're going to do your last double crochet stitch. Okay, so this is what it's going to be starting to shape up. This is your 2 cluster rows, and then I'm going to go ahead and chain 3, but let me just show you what it's going to shape up to once you get everything done. Okay, so this is what it looks like. You have 2 cluster rows, and you're going to have 5 rows of double crochet stitches, 2 cluster rows, 5 rows of double crochet stitches, and then ending with 2 cluster rows. So this is how we completed the sleeve. So go ahead at this point, you've already chained your 3, and you're going to work across the row, putting a double crochet stitch in every single stitch across. Okay, and if you're following my measurements, then I had a total of 60 stitches that I created. Remember the chain of 3 counted as 1 stitch. So if you count across, you'll have a total of 61 stitches. And I was just showing you could either go through this stitch, through the chain, or you can go right into the hole. I found it a little bit easier just to go straight into the hole there. And I'm just going across the entire row. Okay, so this is what it's going to start to look like. Just continue to work down the row, making sure that you get a crochet stitch in every stitch across. So I'm not going to stay on camera for the whole paneling, but I want to show you how it's worked. So you have your starter row, you'll have 2 cluster rows, 5 double crochet rows, and then you'll do your cluster row, 2 of those, and then 5 rows of double crochet stitches. So that is the pattern for back. You have to do 2 of these, remember? So see, you have 2, then you have 5, 2 cluster rows, 5, and then 2 cluster rows, and then you're going to end this whole panel doing a row of single crochet stitches, and that's what I'm doing here. So just go all the way across like we did with the double crochet row. We're going to do single crochet stitches all the way across. And by doing this, it's just going to make the beginning of the pattern look similar to the end, look similar to the beginning. So, and it kind of helps with the raw edging of the actual paneling. So remember, you'll do 2 of these panelings, one for the right side and one for the left side, which is going to allow for us to have that V-back look that you saw either in my thumbnail or you can see at the end of the video when I put everything together. All right, so that's what it's looking like. And remember, this is going to be, we worked it horizontally, but this is actual parallel on the actual garment, so it looks something like this. See, very pretty. I went ahead and I added at the bottom section, I added a row, 3 rows actually, of single crochet stitches. And I don't know if I did that on camera, but at the bottom, to just take away some of that rawness of it, to make it look a little bit more finished, I did 3 rows of single crochet stitches. Now I want to say that I did a total of 38 stitches, 38 single crochet stitches across. Just whatever number that you do use, make sure you do it the same on both panelings so that it looks consistent and even. I think I did 38, but I'll check my notes and I'll make sure that I put that on my blog as well as on the written pattern. Okay. And that's what it should look like. So the first row is usually not that even because you're working with a crude edge, but it will start to shape up and look really nice and finished once you get the other rows completed. Okay, so now let's talk about the front paneling. Now the front paneling was create using double, triple crochet stitches. So really long extended post that I think makes it look like columns and a very neat looking design. So I'm going to show you how to do a double, triple crochet stitch here in this video, but I also have a tutorial on my channel that goes a little bit slower. So you can try to follow along here to catch on. If you do not get it, please check the description box down below. I'll also put a link here in the video so that you can see how to do the double, triple crochet stitch. I think it's a very pretty stitch. It's an elongated stitch, and I think it really added what I was looking for this actual sweater project. So see, I'm wrapping the yarn around 4 times, and then I will pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, and then pull through 2. So this one's a very fun stitch. I found it was easier to work with a smaller crochet hook, which is why I switched from a 6.5 to a 5.5. But if you don't want to do that, you do not have to do that. You can absolutely stick with the same crochet hook. And you will do this for a total of, I think I did 18 rows of the double triple crochet. I always want to, that's like a tongue twister, double triple crochet stitch. So I did 18 rows of that. Okay, so now let's talk about the collar area. While I did not film the collar area, it is created the exact same way that the sleeves are created. It's the same way that we did the back paneling, but what I did was I just did 5 of the rows of those clusters that we did from the very beginning. So if you keep watching when I do the sleeve, you'll see exactly how to do the collar. I just did the same exact thing. So this is the sleeve area. Remember, we worked this also into 2 panelings. Now if you do not want to do the sleeves as 2 separate parts of the sweater, you don't have to do that. You can actually work it in rounds, which I've done in other tutorials, but in this case I worked it as 2 separate panels so that I can kind of keep everything portable and I can work this on the go. So just like we did in the beginning when we did our cluster pattern, we're going to do the same thing for the sleeve. You're going to do a chain of 50, and then you're going to do your cluster pattern, meaning you'll do 2 double crochet stitches, you'll do a chain of 3, skip 3, and then do 3 double crochet stitches. So I hope that's not confusing. Of course, I'll have the written pattern so you can follow along there, but essentially we're just doing what I call the cluster pattern. And it's worth mentioning, you can see it when I show the clip of what it looks like, but with this cluster pattern, with the sleeve as well as with the collar, I do not use any, I do not do 5 rows of double crochet stitches. I just do the clusters. Okay, and then you'll have 2 at the end and then 2 at the beginning. All right. And I don't stay on camera the whole time. I feel like you probably have this down if you've already worked the paneling for the back. You've done this a few times now, so you probably completely get the pattern at this point. So this is what it's going to look like. Now I did a row of ribbing along the sleeve. You don't have to do this step if you don't want to. I just did it so that it looks more finished. So once I finished doing my my cluster pattern, I chained 3, turned my work, and then I did a row of single crochet stitches all the way across. I mean double crochet stitches. See how that looks? So then after I do that, then I will do my front post, back post stitches in order to create the ribbing. And again, this is not a tutorial for that. If you don't feel comfortable doing it by just watching here on the screen, you can always go into the description box and click on the video that shows you how to do a front post and a back post double crochet stitch. But I will attempt to show you here, but if you want a slower version, then just check the description box. Okay, so I just showed you how to do a front post. Now I'm doing the back post. And again, there is a slower version of this tutorial on my channel where I really kind of go into better detail on how to do these stitches. The rib stitching is definitely an optional portion of this project. If you don't want to do rib stitching, you're not comfortable doing it, you can always do a double crochet stitch all the way around. I also did a row of slip stitch after I finished my ribbing, just to make everything pull together really nicely. So this would be your sleeve completed. You would just fold it in half, sew along the side, the raw edge, and that would complete your sleeve. So that's what I did for the sleeve, and you'll have 2 of those. So just fold it in half, and then you align it with your project, and then you would sew, leaving the top and the bottom portion open so that your arm could fit through. So guys, if you got this far, give yourself a round of applause, give yourself a high five, because you are 80% done. You've got your front paneling completed, your back paneling completed, and you have your 2 sleeves completed. Now it's time for you to just take your time and sew everything together. Okay? I am going to make some assumptions in this part of the video. I'm assuming that you do know how to sew. I use whip stitches all the way down the side panels along the top, leaving a portion open for my neck, as well as I did a whip stitch down the center part of the V so that way it would stay open. So that's what I did. I do not stay on camera to sew because, to be honest with you, it's very difficult to sew, hand sew on camera. So I'm just showing you how I started the process, measuring the opening for my sleeve, and then I used I use stitch markers to just hold everything together. And if you don't have stitch markers, this is now a good time for you to probably invest in some, just because it makes it so much easier when you're trying to put this project and projects like these together. While you can use paper clips and safety pins, a stitch marker is a lot more convenient. So go ahead and that V-back area, I'm just showing you kind of on camera how I did that. I just sewed down about 4 or 5 inches. Again, this is completely up to you, however much back you want to be shown. When I wear mine with a little camisole underneath it. So that's how I do it, but it's up to you. It's very holy, so I would recommend that, or a really cute bra or something like that. But again, this is what it looks like as you're putting it together. I did the sewing off camera, and then here, if you'll see, this is what it looks like when I put it on. So that is it, you all. If you have any questions, please be sure to leave them down below. If you have not subscribed to my channel or hit the notification bell, please take the time to do that. I put out videos as often as I possibly can. And for quick responses, head over to my Instagram channel where I can answer your questions a little bit more real time. I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye.